Hello and welcome everybody to the qualification stage of Beyond the Stars. The team that wins here will advance into the main stage that will be streamed live on Twitch later this month. And we are now going to be seeing Modern Retro playing against Petroleum. We're going to see Petroleum's killer representing here Momo on the Twins. In this first set, we will be seeing our killers taking a trip to Suffocation Pit. The killer player was allowed to pick one killer between Plague, Twins and Demo. And very evidently, we're going to see Momo going for the Twins here and already finding a survivor very early on into the game, very patiently on the pounce, and that is going to land straight on the Claudette here. Keeper Lee will be the first one to be put into the injured state, and Claudette is going to be carrying around Victor for the start of the game here.
Yeah, it's really great to be here to get started with the qualifications for Beyond the Stars. In the distance across the ways here, we see Undying getting cleansed here. So the survivors should very much be aware of the Ruin Undying that's going to be coming into play, as well as Thanatophobia to get that extra 5% slowdown for each injure on the survivors here. Really, really great, healthy pick for a killer like the Twins that has the ability to dish out a lot of injures, get a lot of slugs, as we see a chase back onto the Claudette and the Zarina over at the Shack here. Beautiful work getting the kick onto the Victor, and being there for the body block is really, really important against the Twins with her slugging playstyle.
And of course, we are going to see the very classic add-ons here being used, the Forest Stew as well as the Toy Sword, which is going to increase Victor's speed and also the speed of him charging up his pounce here. Keeper Lee is going to jump into the locker, trying to avoid going down here, but Victor is going to be able to block that locker, and Charlotte is close enough so that Keeper Lee is going to go down at 5 generators remaining. That is a ridiculously early down for Twins here, and Momo will most likely try to go for a hook here in the active side of the generators as the cropped intervention is running out now, but all of these survivors will not have been able to apply any pressure on these generators on the side of the Shack building, Shack, and Momo is going to hook our survivor right next to generator. That Zarina jukebox here was working on Keeper Lee in a very unfortunate position here with this hook. Jukebox will be forced to get off this generator, and basically all the progress that this survivor was able to put up in the early stages of the game is now going to be denied. Is going to take a hit running down to the lower side, or to the Shack side here, and Thanatophobia is going to grant Momo a second stack now, which is going to reduce all types of actions, which mostly affect generators here by 10%. Victor is going to be released here. Momo trying to scout out more survivors, hoping to find Keeper Lee most likely to secure an early death into the game, but so far will only be able to find Apply to Forehead. Is going to find the Kate here, but there's still no trace of Keeper Lee, but Momo is most likely going to try to get the hit onto our Kate here, and will now be zoned in the corner of the map, so Charlotte should have an easy time getting the down here, but Kate still being very, very patient on top of that hill, might be waiting to activate that balance landing to get out of the sticky situation.
It is nice to see the balance landing coming into play here. Should be able to make it over to a filler pallet of some kind, but I don't think so. Kate's going to have to go down in the corner of the map here, not really being able to utilize, I believe we saw the balance landing on our Kate here, but it's really nice to see that the survivors are doing a really good job of getting the resets through and getting healed up as quickly as possible, as you really should do against the Twins. The Ruin and Undying have both been cleansed at this point in time, so none of the gens are going to be regressing to that Ruin, as we see the survivors here are on absolute rampage with these early generators here. It's been a bit of a slow start for the survivors of Team Modern Retro here. Unfortunate miss of the firecracker here, but nice to see our Adam here is abusing this edge part of the hill. Unfortunately, not going to be able to dodge the Victor pounce, and will be carrying the Victor with him for a little bit as the rescue happens just near the hook here. Momo's going to be waiting out the borrowed time on this Kate, as 2 gens have popped in the distance. We did see earlier that we had a lot of progress on those generators here, but we'll have to be mindful of the generator split that we have around the map here, as a 3-gen against the Twins can be absolutely devastating.
And Momo doing an absolutely fantastic job at keeping Kate on this side of the map here, not allowing them to reach the middle side of the map, because the middle of Suffocation Pit is the hardest part of the map to run, with the condensed amount of tiles located right in that area. But Momo doing a fantastic job zoning Ziria right back into that hook here, and they will be hooked on the same hook here once again. That hook has now already tanked 3 survivor stages, and only 2 different different or individual survivors have been hooked here. Momo trying to scout using Victor here on the low side of the map here where Shaq is located, trying to find the survivors, possibly going for the reset or healing each other here. Jukebox is going to remain injured, and with that hook, that is still going to be the 10% Thanatophobia. Just as Jukebox gets healed here, however, Claudette's still trying to push out this generator. This is also now going to be the second time the firecracker is used on this hill, and this time it is going to be successful blind here. Momo is going to miss the count as well right off the hill. That is going to be a tremendous waste of time. Going straight back into Charlotte, trying to deny the unhook here, but it does come through. We do see apply to forehead will successfully unhook Kate, but Kate's still struggling, trying to find her way back to the middle part. Adam with a nice body block. He will be securing the Kate will be getting the vault, and Adam's still trying to take the body block. A nice blocking here of the part, and Kate will be able to make it to main building and to extend the chase even further.
Yeah, those body blocks have really been coming in clutch here. And speaking of, we have Zarina being able to body block the Victor from being able to get inside the main building. Amazing work and communication by our survivors here on Modern Retro. It's really going to be tough for Petroleum to keep up with this kind of pressure here, as we have only 2 generators remaining in this trial. Swing and a miss, but Kate is unfortunately going to go down at this suicide part of the main building here. That is going to be our first elimination from our survivors here, as no decisive strike has come into play here on our poor Kate, who is now being eliminated. 3 survivors remaining and 2 gens to complete, with Victor just being available for our Charlotte. Now, 1 gen here with a decent amount of progress, but another one with a little bit as well. But Thanatophobia is really going to be slowing them down, especially with these resets not being able to come through as of just yet. Momo's going to be scouting around with the Victor here, getting onto the Claudette as Zarina manages to get healed up as well. Always having someone available for these body blocks, as well as at least a survivor on generators, is a really good rhythm to keep up with the absolute ton of pressure that Momo has been putting onto these survivors. And we see a beautiful head-on from our Adam here. What a beautiful stun. I just want to say, it's so nice to see the use of head-on being so much more strategically used in comp these days.
And especially by someone with such a fitting name as well. Applying to forehead, applying the head-on straight onto Momo's forehead is going to get the stun and makes it out of that area. And also with with the first elimination coming out at 2 generators remaining, I would be expecting a 4K here for Momo, but the survivors have split up the gens fantastically. We have a perfect 2-2 split on each side of the map here. Momo is going to vault right after the Adam tries to secure another down here finally. So far we only have one more there's only 1 stage contributed to 1 other survivor. Momo is going to find the down onto apply to forehead's Adam here. That is going to be the 5th stage of the game, but Momo is most likely going to struggle keep up with these gens here in the later stages of the game, as they are split so evenly across the map here. Of course, the Thanatophobia is going to be extremely difficult for the survivors to counter, but this mere gen split here is going to be amazing for our survivors. But we do see a very unfortunate miss of a skill check. We're going to strategically use the locker here once again, avoiding going down to Victor's hands here, to Victor's grasp, and this might be enough range for the survivor to push out the locker. But actually no, I think Momo is a bit too close. You know, we do see Victor getting shoved off the doors. Keepoli is going to be able to make it away here, and seems to be making it all the way over to Shaq. Momo might try to go for the down here. No, they're going to hit straight back to the other side, where we just saw the Anu come through as well. So the survivors might be healing very close nearby, and if Momo does find 2 survivors injured, this might be detrimental for our survivors.
The Zarina does manage to get reset though, so it's going to be just that much more difficult for Momo to be able to cause a lot more damage and potentially snowball. He has found the reset though. Unable to get the down onto the Adam though. It's a really hard one to go for when you've got a healthy and an injured survivor there. Someone available to body block these Victor pounces and any M1 attacks as well. These survivors have been doing a really good job with their coordination of keeping people together. But the Zarina's going to be there for the kick onto the Victor, but the down has happened onto the Adam with not enough time for that pickup to come through either. So this is going to be another hook for Momo here, as we have Claudette getting reset with the last gen popping adrenaline coursing through her veins as Adam gets put on the hook for the second time, putting Momo at a comfy 6 stages right now with no NOED or no way out to help Momo in this end game. It's going to be tough to be able to secure this 4K, and the survivors are going to go for this 2-man out. But be careful though, getting Victor onto your shoulders is not going to be able to get you out of the trial. The survivors are going to have to do a heal tech in order for this Claudette to be able to escape here. And the Victor does get crushed, and we see the 2-man escape right at the end here. Amazing work by Modern Retro to get these outs here, but also an incredible performance by Momo on the killer side here to secure a total of 7 stages from this trial. Incredibly done. All right, and welcome back everyone to Beyond the Stars qualification stage. This time we're going to be seeing Modern Retro on the killer side with the Plague pick here. Out of the choice of Twins, Demo, and Plague, we are going to be seeing the Plague, but once again on the Suffocation pit as well. So it's interesting to see that we've got a bunch of fountains around this mid-map area, which honestly I would say was a really good thing for the Plague. A very decent corrupt on this main building side as well, with the healthy 4-gen on this side. Definitely something you're going to want to be defending for later on in the trial here, getting these contagious effects onto these generators on the other side to get some potential info of who's working on these gens early on in the game.
Picking Plague as a response to the previous Twins game is definitely a smart decision here, as there's so much that Plague can also achieve on this map here. And with Momo being able to secure 7 stages in the previous game, there's a lot that can happen here for Modern Retro. We're going to see Jukebox representing his or their team against the survivors of Petroleum here, also going to be using the double apple add-on, which is going to spawn in more pools of devotion right off from the get-go. But of course, that ashen apple, the green one, is also going to increase the availability of pools of devotion by another one, so they do have an extra chance to cure their disease. But Jukebox with a very ambitious swing here onto the Nia, almost going to connect here, but is unfortunately going to be a little bit short here on the swing. But we see those 3 pools are in a very compromising position here. We have 2 of them right in the middle of the map, so Jukebox can decide whatever they want to do with these pools here. And now going to try to split the pressure between these between the generators here, using the puke to get these, push the survivors off. We do have 2 survivors already in the broken state, so if either of them do get found, then Jukebox might as well just take the ability and take the class down right at the start of the game.
And we do see one of these fully infected survivors here. We have the Nia looping around this main building, doing a really, really good job of wasting as much time as possible. Poor Jukebox is trying his hardest to catch up, has to get that bloodlust to be able to get this down here. As we haven't seen any gens popping just yet, but Caster's Curse, there it is. The first gen has popped. Let's have a quick look and see what the rest of the survivors are going to be doing here. We're going to be seeing some more gens popping across the ways as this basement hook comes through. Adam walking around, Laurie and Ace both on generators with 1 nearly completed as well. 2 gens for 1 hook, not too bad. Yeah, already getting that basement hook here on main building side, that is going to be extremely difficult for the survivors to rescue, with Plague's one-shot ability, or basically a one-shot ability where you can just infect survivors really quickly, and a fantastic 5-gen located around the main building side. Yeah, I don't think this is counterable for the survivors, with this survivor being hooked right in the middle. This is just the death sentence here, right from the get-go for Momo here, who has played killer in the previous game. So Jukebox just perfectly taking revenge here for their own team. And we do see one survivor does get infected here right again. It's going to be a heck. That is going to be difficult for the survivors now that there's only 2 survivors that can be healthy. 3 generators still remaining, but they cannot work on any of them because they're all right around basement. So Jukebox can just walk from gen to gen while defending the hook, while reinfecting all of these generators here. Only 1 generator is a bit off center here, located in the middle. So Jukebox would have to go
out of their way to reinfect this here. But we are going to see the Ace here, who is infected, but is not going to go into the broken state just yet, so it's going to be a bit of a waste of time here. And with Ace going down in the corner, this is going to be note here. This is gonna be this is the perfect window of opportunity for our survivors to rescue Momo out of that basement, which is just extremely important, and we do see it happen right now. So this might be a nice comeback for our survivors.
It would be nice to see the survivors make a comeback from this absolute dire situation we've got going on here. The 5-gen, the pools of devotion being inside that 5-gen, the hook being in the basement, in the middle of the 5-gen, and now another survivor hooked on top of that hill near a bunch of the gens as well. We have Pop Goes the Weasel that's available to be used, but there's no point at this rate being able to get quick, easy chases onto the survivors here, forcing them into the edge map as we see another down onto this Adam here, farming up those fresh hooks and getting ready for the end game and trying to get that point advantage to make the difference and move on into the main stage here. Jukebox knows what they need to do, and they are getting it done as they're going to go for another pool of corruption here and find some survivors inside this 5-gen and get some nice easy downs as everyone is in the broken status effect and injured. Full Thanatophobia slowdown. All the gens being so close to each other, as well as a Pop Goes the Weasel kick. This is really, really difficult.
Yeah, with these 5 generators located on one side, this is near impossible for these survivors to come back from. So the set has been decided by RNG here for Jukebox. The only thing that is necessary for Jukebox is perfect execution of their ability. And we see it going down right after. Jukebox absolutely not lacking on any of these ability usages. We are going to see 1 generator pop, but every single survivor is injured, and Jukebox still has their ability ready here. The Corrupt Purge is still being up, so that is going to be now a 2-man slug here, with 1 survivor just going for the rescue. So Jukebox right now is aware of this, the exact location of all of these survivors. We're going to see 1 going down in the corner here, but it's not going to be too much avail, as there's a hook right next to the down on the hill. We see that cure coming through on the other side of the map here, but 1 survivor does have to say goodbye at 2 generators still remaining. So that is basically actually a very similar position to what our Twins player was in the last time, but this time Jukebox is at 5 stages in contrast to the 4 stages that were achieved in the last time. But Jukebox still has this 4-gen available on one side of the map, while the Twins were struggling with a 2-2 split. So this is looking very, very promising for Jukebox here to decide this set for Modern Retro.
It's really, really convenient that Jukebox has gone for the Plague pick here, and absolutely thanking their lucky stars for this amazing RNG to get that 5-gen at the main building side, as we are seeing this chase back onto our Laurie here, I believe, who's been trying to do this gen a good majority of the game. What a beautiful use of power there, getting that down. At that, I believe that's going to be either 2nd stage or death onto our Laurie here. No, it's a fresh hook. I'm completely mistaken. Jukebox has been able to get all fresh hooks from this trial and is at 6 stages right now. So to get the win condition, if that Laurie dies on that hook, that's going to be all that Modern Retro needs to move into the main stage of Beyond the Stars. And I think it's very, very possible that we're going to see it happen. It's really unfortunate that it's had to end like this, but impressive performance by both sides as we see another gen popping in the distance. The survivors are not out for the count, and they're still going to give it their all regardless of the win condition.
With Jukebox exerting so much universal pressure, it is sometimes a bit difficult to tell who's been hooked and who hasn't been, with all these survivors just going down like flies here to Jukebox's ability users, and with everybody being broken at so many times in the game, and then also the Thanatophobia coming out on top here. It's just so difficult for the survivors to counter the sheer pressure that is being put up. Now, we did have both of those generators pop, but that is just going to narrow down the 3-gen that is now available available for Jukebox here. That is located on right next to main, or 2 generators right next to main and 1 generator on main. That is now going to be the 7th stage of the game, and that is also, it also has already been decided that Modern Retro is going to take this set, and they are surely going to advance into the main stage that will be streamed live on Twitch here. We are going to see Jukebox now trying to execute all of the last remaining survivors. That ability is going to run out, but that is just going to open a window of opportunity for Jukebox to get the one shot on the Adam here. That is extremely unfortunate. We have every single survivor now down on the ground, with one survivor dying on hook, the second joining them right after, and only Heck is the one that is still crawling on the ground, maybe trying to find Hatch here, but there's no point in even trying, as this set is already decided quite clearly for Team Modern Retro.
Well, I'm really, really happy to see a 4K on the Suffer Pit with our Plague here. I've got to say, the expectation of seeing this 4K happen with what we saw RNG-wise this game, you really can't deny it. This is the best of the best RNG you can really get on a map like Suffocation Pit, and it's really nice to see that Jukebox has just executed perfectly with what they needed to do here. We're going to see our final survivor going on to the hook here, and that will secure the 4K for Modern Retro.
Yeah, that is also going to conclude the set between Modern Retro and Petroleum. Both teams with a fantastic performance, but Modern Retro coming out on top with their Plague pick, just doing a fantastic job with the usages of the ability, and also the exerting the pressure. So that is going to conclude it, and we will see Modern Retro advance.